In that case, I guess. Uh, but at this point, is it okay to we should just jump towards the draw that happened for the World Cup Qatar
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
and
let's move on.
and potentially either you can or I can screen just a second just to go by each
Groups.
groups and then
Yeah.
just a second share. Where is the share option? Yeah. Uh, is my window or my screen is visible?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, we're going to go to the group A, that is host Qatar,
Mm.
Ecuador from South America, Senegal, and Netherlands. Um, so Qatar will be playing first game of the World Cup against Ecuador,
Yeah.
and there is African champion Senegal in the group as well as Netherlands.
Well, it will be interesting to see because Ecuadorian team just got their form back. Um, they will be hard to attack,
Yeah, and then this is
especially
very young team and very very pacey.
yeah.
And
Yeah, they are spacey, and the thing about Ecuador, like one of the most interesting thing is that like my friend was from Ecuador, and she said like it's almost like warmer like situations there, so they
yes,
are actually familiar with worms and stuff like that. So so does Senegal and Qatar, and only team
Netherlands.
who is not so this team three team will play in their full potential so far, like almost full, and Netherlands. So it
Interesting.
will be
It will be very interesting.
interesting actually.
Uh,
But
but for host, always we
yeah,
always talk about host country. Um,
and
ex-
always host actually make some sort of upset, like
exactly, except
yeah.
South Africa in 2010.
South Africa made actually one win. They won
Well,
in their
but they
first
didn't
match.
qualify for the next round, right?
Yeah,
So,
but yeah, it made actually a little bit change. Like
no,
one win can actually
for sure,
yeah
it can mess up someone else.
mess up also all sort of equations. Yeah.
So, talking about host, what are the chances of host even? I mean, I've not followed Qatar, but looking at this group, you have Senegal, who looks very tough, not just physically but mentally. Netherlands is one of the power, obviously, and one of the top European teams, historic teams, and have very good players. And Louis van Gaal, who is a very pragmatic sort of coach and knows about World Cup. And you have this Alfio Basiles. Sorry, not is it Alfio? No, not Alfio. Gustavo Alfaro. Gustavo Alfaro, the ex-Boca manager,
Yeah.
and his Ecuador team, which is going to surprise a lot of people. I kind of think your your kind of assumption towards the chances of Qatar. How do you see that?
Well, they can actually make one or two upset. I don't think they are going through because you will need at least two wins and a draw uh, to
Or two draws, one win if everyone was stuck on other ways,
yeah,
and the goal difference comes in and stuff like that.
yeah, something like that. But
But if you have to
uh,
bet, I mean, obviously we should not bet based on the
yeah,
names because the game is played on the field.
but with current form, I would say it will be an interesting game with Senegal versus
Netherlands.
Netherlands. Yeah, because there are some new players from Ajax or Eindhoven is playing for Netherlands, and they are playing really good. And some players are even not getting enough play time so far. And Memphis Depay is brilliant with that team.
So would you rate Netherlands in this group as one of the top teams? Although technically it's Qatar, but as one of the favorite to progress.
Yeah, well, this will be interesting actually. That because Ecuador's recent form and how they're playing, and there are some players are in the pipeline when who
Yeah,
are getting
especially
more minutes.
Estupinian
Yeah,
is number seven.
yeah,
Is very pacey on the wing.
yeah,
There is players like Ana Valencia, who English Premier League, especially West Ham fans knows very well, and there are other players who are very exciting. There is a bit of nervousness on the back line. Sometimes they make some mistakes, but otherwise, this team is can be a surprising element.
yeah, exactly. And also like both of the teams, Senegal and Netherlands, they would like to play with the balls, and Ecuador, as a South American team, they never like
They're more on
how am I gonna
the
say
hit on the
that?
break sort of team.
Yeah, and also like this is their main strength, so they will probably lay back and in deep, especially, and it's hard to break them actually,
It is.
especially like when
They can press very
uh,
high, especially in the midfield.
yeah, they actually start pressing in the midfield, and they actually try to uh, disjoint the shapes and uh, players. There were sort of like it's hard to break them actually, especially in centrally. And if you remember, like most of Senegal's attacks are from either middle or in the left, so they will
Yeah, left
probably
obviously
struggle so far.
has to be money,
Yeah, but
and
no,
also the
actually,
winger, the
it was
left.
yeah, it was actually interesting because Mane was playing more central role as a false nine
Yeah,
against Egypt, and probably there were another match before. Probably it was in the same final. He played the same role
in
in
the Afcon.
Afcon. So
Yeah,
yeah, so but there are like this left back and left wingers. They are really pacey and they can actually take on defenders. So yeah, it will be an interesting game in Central, especially against Ecuador, because it will be hard to break them. And also, these three teams actually really good in like centrally. Like Van Dijk, if he is playing, he's unbreakable almost. So does Frankie De Jong got his form back. So he's like pulling out the strings with the positions and without positions. And um, also there are players who can actually make like long balls and long runs in this team,
and I really hope
especially
they don't.
Blind.
Exactly, and I was
Yeah,
going to talk about players like, I hope Ginny Wijnaldum never get picked on the 26
I don't
squad.
think he is even in the conversation because he was not actually in the team
Yeah,
in the last match probably.
I think last
Uh,
last last few
Let me check.
games.
Yeah, let me check a little bit.
I think there was a bit of I was interested to see how Klaasendeel, he entered as substitute more kind of, and there is obviously depth from Dutch team in terms of midfielders. Um,
Yeah, like they played against Germany, and like there were 1-1 stalemate.
yes,
And yeah, well, they actually changed the shape. I actually did not see the game at all.
I
But
saw the
this,
highlights,
oh, okay. But Bargias, who's playing brilliant football
and
right
to
now, he
be
can actually play.
honest, Louis Van Gaal always prefers 4-4-2. Somehow he likes
Yeah.
that. Um, but again, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, he was playing like up until this match as a 4-3-3 system. So I was surprised to see this shape. Actually, probably it's because of Germany that they're playing up.
And also, yeah, and Van Gaal knows Germany very well because he coached there
Yeah,
for a long time.
he was Bayern Munich's coach, right?
Yeah, he was for a long time Bayern Munich
Yeah.
coach. But again, coming back to
But yeah, Klaassen, he was in a great form with Germany, so, sorry, Netherlands, and um, also Bergwijn. So like there is a always a alternative options in the midfield, and
The winger.
Kupiners played, and he's so far doing so well with this Dutch team. So like these players, like three players, are in like really good form, and they are really ball players, and they can actually, you can actually play in like multiple positions. So like they can change the shape in the middle of the game also. So it will be hard to
Play
um,
against.
predict.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also,
but
there's a bit of time left from now. I mean, there's almost like
yeah,
7 months.
of course, and also like there will be some changes in summer transfer.
And also
Players are going
some
to, yeah,
potentially
players are going
fitness
to the
and
new
stuff
club.
like that.
Yeah, players are will go to another team, and it will be hard for them to like keep the same form.
Yeah,
So
this
there will be
World Cup
changes.
seems like a different. I mean, normal World Cup happens in June, and that this one particularly, the season will start, and you have to adapt to a new. If you're moving to a new club, you have to adapt to a new system and their system, and then all of a sudden there's a break. So yeah, in that sense, it would be a very kind of odd World Cup.
But in a sense, it will be better if you see like a physical points
For
of
sure,
view.
for sure.
Normally they actually play a whole season, then
Well,
actually there is a break, and then there is this World Cup, and they are
true,
not like,
true and false. If we remember Real Madrid winning all the Champions League, they have been awful for most of the first half of the season up until December,
yeah.
and then they picked up from January to February and March in the business end. Um, yes, I totally agree on that too. It will be a little, but what
Well,
I'm saying is it's a little bit different feeling in terms of um,
yeah,
international.
it's a knockout tournament, because like after group stages match, there will be like four knockout matches, and that's it.
Yeah,
um, but like what you were saying, I kind of agreed, but the thing is that like winning Champions Leagues, like you only because at that time there were away goals and stuff like that, and you only need like 2-3 wins, like that's it. But winning a World Cup, it will be a little bit harder, because like if you are playing like matches in like in every three days.
that's true.
um,
The
it's almost as hard
squad
as,
depth.
yeah, also like it's almost as hard as like winning a league, because winning a league you have to like
3 days you
be
have to play.
consistent at least,
Exactly.
yeah, the whole year. So
Yeah.
so
Okay. On that sense, if we are fine with Group A, we can move into Group
yeah,
B. Just a moment.
we didn't uh, pick any favorite or something like that, right?
No, but
It's hard, to
we
pick actually.
kind of asked who you think will go ahead from Group
Yeah,
A and stuff. It's hard to pick a favorite, but yeah, you probably give Netherlands a little bit of more. Because of their football heritage and what they stand for. But can that really sound because there is an African Nations
yeah.
Cup winner on that group? But yeah, coming to Group B. This looks like a more of a political group, of geopolitical group, but coming from England, Iran, United States, and that Ukraine, Wales, or
Yeah, it's,
Scotland.
well, it's like uh NATO is conspiring against Iran or something like that.
Yeah,
But
and it's one of the finest classic between Iran and USA. I remember that game in
yeah,
2002. Um, Was it not? Sorry, not 2002, 1998. Ali Dai, obviously.
1998, yeah.
Yes. Um, But coming to USA and England and with Iran and with all the respect to potentially Wales or Ukraine or Scotland, uh, does England feel good about this group?
I don't think so because they will probably, well, it depends on i- well well it depends on the first match. Do
Uh,
you know that what is the first match?
England is playing against Iran for the first match.
Oh, okay. Okay, if if everything goes well, they will probably in the first match, like they will probably go through all of them. They have this squad depth to beat everyone. But I don't know actually. Well, it
But
depends. Like
just to
Iran will be like,
remind you, England never beat USA in a World Cup.
yeah, that's the thing. Actually, I was going to bring up because there was a match in probably 1950s,
1950 and then that famous 2010.
2010. Yeah. So yeah, there's I saw
Wasn't
pundits
Jordan
were
Pickford the keeper?
no
No,
at the
I think it
time
was a different keeper, but
Joe
that's fine.
Hart.
Johart, yeah.
Yeah. So well, well, that was an interesting game, but it like
Brings back a lot of
fortunately they
memories. Yeah.
yeah fortunately they will only have to play 90 minutes this time. So it was probably like in second round, right?
No, no, no. It was a group stage.
Group stage. Okay. There was a second round game against US.
I have to double check. Give me a second. Um, 2010. Let's see. It was 1-1. It was group stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was fairly
But
sure about group stage, but that was like 1-1 draw, and which actually led England's kind of downfall, given that they're not.
yeah, like for England, it's first match is important always in the World Cup because if they are playing against Iran, they will defend with like 10 players, probably
But
11
Iran
players.
is not that Iran, say, we have seen 4 years ago, or even 8 years ago. Iran looks not as, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but not as good as the previous Iran teams.
Yeah, they were actually struggling at the at World Cup qualifiers in Asia.
Yeah.
So, but
But anything can happen. I mean, obviously, we
yeah,
can definitely get motivated against England, obviously. Uh,
yeah, obviously,
but
but
what is the biggest? I mean, am I wrong to say England is overwhelmingly favorite on this group
yeah,
because given
no, you're not wrong.
nothing, no disrespect to US, obviously they have.
But US team, they have put like so much potential in this team, but they are I don't know, for some reason underperforming.
The team, whenever I see US, and I've seen a
Yeah,
lot of US games, it somehow looks like something is missing, something is not clicking as a team. Um, Maybe this team doesn't suit the manager's way of approaching the game. That potentially this team is more talented on the attacking front, the creative front, and that I don't think is getting there.
yeah, that's the thing actually. Like Pulisic seems like kinds of like restricted. Like in Chelsea with under Tuchel, he is like more you know uh, going get it type of guy. But in US, he's not that actually. Like he's sort of like restricted by the surroundings and stuff
Exactly. I
like
mean,
that, like
obviously,
formation.
people will come and say, hey, look at he scored a hat trick versus Panama, but that's kind of one-off performance. It's not regular for US and Pulisic.
Yeah,
And obviously, if we are talking about US team, I think the most consistent player has been the West, McKennie. He has been very good with the team, and there are other players who hasn't really lived up to their standard, and also another player, actually Gio Reyna, who was not really available for a lot of injury-related problems. And if he's available and if he's on the top form, that gives a very different look on the US team. But if Gio Reyna is not on his 100% fitness, then obviously we're looking at a very different US team.
yeah, that's the problem. Like, I don't know like what's going on, but so far when I saw that them playing, it feels like something is like restricting them. Like,
Or it's not working as a team. I mean, or I don't know
yeah,
how to explain that. They look good when the balls are moving, and all of a sudden there's a phase in the game. They look kind of, they don't know what to do.
yeah.
But definitely, if I have to say, on this group, who is the major challenge for England on the top spot, because England do want to get that top spot. I would still pick US as a main kind of contender against them. And the other two teams, with no disrespect to, like, Iran, or it could be potentially Wales or Ukraine, or
Scotland,
Scotland.
Ukraine actually played really well in the if you remember in the Euro.
Yes, yes. But again, now
And
it's a question
y-
of
yeah, now
psychology.
it's the yeah now it's a different situation. If they qualify, I don't know. Like if they qualify, it's, if they did it, then they there will be a possibility to show the world, like stuff like that. So that sometimes these teams come kinds of like
Need need
overperform.
need
Yeah,
unity and some kind of disparity
yeah,
to perform. But otherwise, Wales has been good. We talked about them beating
yeah.
Austria fairly even and square. Other than that, I mean, Wales could be a team which could be slippery, or even if Scotland comes in, which would be interesting. Can we move into the next group?
Yeah, yeah.
Just a second. The next group consists of Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland.
Let's start with Mexico. There are talks like before the game, probably like to fire Tata Martino.
There's
What do you think?
a lot of things going on in Mexico, especially with the manager and the players and the association not being, and also press doesn't help. Uh, there was a lot of question mark, especially this time around. If you remember, Mexican team has always had youth and exuberance. This time around, it's not the case. It's almost like you have a kind of veteran or older guys, and there was not much young talent to incorporate. You might say names like Raul Jimenez and players like that, but he's not really young. He's not up and coming,
He's
and
already
yeah,
like much more experienced, but there are players in the pipeline you mentioned in the last video. Like they are not playing because Tata Martino doesn't actually give
well,
chance.
well, Tata Martino has way more footballing knowledge than I have, but it's just my point of view that there was not ample chance was given. And Tata Martino knows the Mexican league way better than I do. But
Well, there are talks like he doesn't watch Mexican league
uh, well, if he
because
even
there are
if he even
players.
doesn't watch, I
Uh,
mean, he has spent some time in Mexican league, and also knows the competition fairly well and knows the talent pool. Uh, I don't know how true is that, but Mexico always had, if you remember, from 1994 to or even 1990, if we go back, they had a very good.
Yeah,
They always had very good goalkeeper. They're always very good striker and wingers.
yeah,
This time around, I don't know. There is something is missing. They're more kind of tight and just on the defensive line they're very in Concacaf. I think they have conceded very few goals. They have had lots of away win. Uh, but eventually, I think Mexico will not be absolutely unhappy about the group they got. I mean, obviously, Argentina is the biggest favorite here in this group, and
yeah.
but as a pot number two team, Mexico I think still got a fair shot. I mean, there will be a very good game against Poland and also Saudi Arabia. I mean, obviously Saudi did very well in Asian qualifying, but I don't know how good they will be against Mexico. So coming back to your question of Tata Martino, there is a lot of miscommunication, disorganization. The Mexican press is not really happy with him, and then they've all. You can argue that, or they can argue that they have they were number two team in the qualifying above US. And this US team is the most talented US team that has ever been played in this CONCACAF. But is this the bar they would be happy with? And Mexico, the other thing is right now they might not look good. In World Cup, they've always performed well
Yeah.
to a certain degree. So it is going to be very interesting. I know how they do.
Also, Poland is an interesting team.
Poland
So,
is. Not a lot of people know that they have recently beaten Switzerland, which I consider is
yeah,
a very good team. They've beaten fairly easily, 2-0
they
or
have
3-0.
they have fairly strong midfield,
A
and
very good
also
goalkeeper.
yeah, very good goalkeeper, and also
Some
like one of the best strikers in the world.
and also Zelensky is on the team
Yeah.
as well. So it's not an easy team to play against, especially
Mhm.
when you're dealing with
Kulashevsky is also there,
Kulusevski
right?
is also Polish.
Yeah,
Yes,
I forgot him.
yeah. So this is very tall, towering team. Physically
Yeah,
very challenging team. So it's not an easy team to play against. So it would be a very interesting game, especially Poland.
but do you think still Argentina is a favorite? Is the favorite?
I think so. I think so. They're over. I would say if beat they cannot beat these teams easily. I don't think they're favorite to win anyway in the World Cup in the long run. Given that whatever we've seen from Lionel Scaloni's team, I think
Hmm.
you have to rate them higher. Obviously, there is statistics of saying they're they're not beaten by 31 games or 32 games. It's a silly statistics. Uh,
Well, it doesn't matter because like Argentina, I remember was undefeatable for like 2 3 years before they went on to
1994 World Cup,
no, it
the
was in
2002
2002 because yeah,
Marcelo
because
Bielsa
they
team.
no yeah Bielsa team because nobody could beat them actually at the time, not even Brazil. And so far I remember there were like World Cup qualifier matches against Brazil, and
They couldn't
Brazil
beat it.
was nowhere
Yeah.
near to them actually.
No, I agree. And that team had more star flair
Yeah.
than this team. Obviously, there's Lionel Messi and others, but
Also, like especially if you consider like well, other than 1994 or 1990, this 2002 team were like had these best defenders in the world, like Walter Samuel, Zanetti, um
I would
I
argue
guess
against Mauricio
Gabriel.
Pochettino.
Huh?
Mauricio Pochettino I would argue he was one of the top player in the world. Pochettino was not a top center back, but he was
Yeah,
starting against. I think that the World Cup there was some moments that went against them.
yeah.
Didn't capitalize and playing just one striker, not Crespo and Batistuta together. There are a lot of reasons, and Bielsa is Bielsa being very stubborn, and also every Bielsa team at some point run out of gas. I think this time Scaloni is more sane, ground to earth person, and is more flexible. I think
Well,
let's put it this way: let's
okay.
more kind of flexible than Bielsa ever would be.
Well, yeah, true. Yeah, but like compared to
And if you remember, Lionel Scaloni and I think even Lionel Messi played that game in 2006 of Maxi Rodriguez wonder goal
yeah,
versus Mexico. So Mexico always somehow gets into Argentina's path, or somehow that is a great match. Obviously, this time around there is no Nigeria versus Argentina, the classic game every World Cup should have had. But it seems like it's
yeah,
not.
but also like probably Mexico is also playing Copa America for a few times, and there were some games against
Some kind of
Argentina.
rivalry, but
But in Copa America, it's different because like they don't actually like stand against Argentina that much actually.
yeah,
But in World Cup, it's different actually.
World Cup is different, but they haven't won anything yet.
But don't you think like this Poland team has like really pacey wingers? It
They
would
do.
be a problem for Argentina.
Well, if you're playing against teams like Ecuador or Brazil, I don't think.
Kulusevski will play in the so far in the right, and Aquina and Tagliafico has position.
Yeah,
I am not thinking about Aquina probably will play, given
yeah,
that like he's
or
more
alternatively,
faster.
Tagliafico recently played fairly good two games too
Yeah, also like he's not getting any like much chances
in
in Ajax,
Ajax.
so yeah.
So I think Argentina has the depth in case
Also, Otamendi is playing on the left.
Yes, but you don't want any counterattack against Otamendi. You don't want to expose him to that. Otherwise, he's been very good.
Mm,
If you're
yeah,
defending it as a team in zones, he's been good. But the only thing you want to avoid is giving him one on one to defend with. It can be.
yeah. That will be that's the thing. Like Aquina will be a great asset there because he's almost as fast as Kulusevski. Uh, but
And
uh,
don't forget, if fit Lisandro Martinez, he can play in different places.
yeah,
He can be left back, he can be center back, he can be defending
yeah. But against
midfielders.
Lewandowski, will need some guy who can actually
Yeah,
fight
I think that's
in the
Christian
air.
Romero more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but again, depends on who is fit and who is available and stuff like that. I still feel Argentina could have easily got Germany on their group or
mm,
or someone like Senegal,
yeah,
and they would be rather happy with Mexico, given that
yeah.
you know this Mexico team is potentially not as sparkling Mexico team so far I've seen. I think it's the most damp Mexico team I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, no Rafael Marquez
No
anymore.
Rafael Marquez and
He played 6 or 7 World Cup, right?
yeah, he was unique. Uh, but not just Rafael Marquez. I mean, even if you last time Mexico had win against Germany, you had this the Napoli winger. Um, sorry, I just not coming into my mind at this point. But there are some excellent wingers there and the strikers. And this time around, I don't know. There is same player, but it will be not easy against Argentina and against Poland too. It's not going to be easy for Mexico especially. but
Yeah,
you still kind of back them to go with Argentina on paper.
yeah. Also, like if you consider the benches, like most of the team has like really good fast team, but they don't have backups. So like it applies to all of the teams. Like
True, except potentially Brazil and bigger teams
yeah.
that has a very good bench.
No, no, I was talking about this group.
Oh, this group.
So
Sorry. Yeah, that's
so
absolutely correct.
that will be, yeah, that will be because like I would say like in every position Argentina has like two good players, like either or one of them could play,
Yeah,
even not even
the one thing
if,
I would be concerned about is one is the second choice goalkeeper Armani. I don't think he's his second choice.
yeah, that's the problem actually. But normally
Rulli and
goalkeepers,
Musso are way better. Uh,
yeah.
and then you
Rulli actually made pretty good saves in
last game in Ecuador.
yeah, also like in the Super Clasico.
That Rulli plays for Villarreal in Champions League.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's Rossi.
mistaken him with
Rossi.
Rossi. Yeah, sorry.
But coming back to coming back to Argentine players, I think there are few players I am not really 100% sure with. Joaquin Correa is one of them. I mean, he didn't really hit the form. His runs and positioning is fine, but he keeps missing. I don't know if he'd be the ideal backup for Lautaro Martinez. It's more seems like Alvarez would be a better fit or someone else. Uh, and uh, there was a place for Ezequiel Palacios when he was in River Plate and when he moved to Leverkusen. There was a bunch of injuries. I don't think he's the same player at this point. I don't know about him as an option as a backup of Lo Celso or Papu Gomez. If both are unavailable, I think Scaloni should play someone like Buendia rather than
What about Lanzini?
or Lanzini. I mean, Lanzini would have been great if he stays fit, but
Because
I don't think he's in that first or second choice at this point. I don't know about that, but Lanzini always has been great player in terms of press resistance or going to defend. He has been really good form for West Ham, for not just this time around. Unless Lanzini is
well, he is also like playing as a sort of. They don't have actually have a number 10, but
eight and a
he's the
half kind of.
creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of the creative guy in this team
Yes.
in the West Ham. So
So yeah, I totally think without Gio Lodge also and obviously Rodrigo De Paul, I think there is always a good backup. You're absolutely right for Argentine team.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
anything else?
Also, like we don't have to talk about Guido Rodriguez and uh,
No,
Lisandro Paredes. So
no.
it's
Leandro Paredes is very key part, and also
yeah.
Guido too. He's been whenever he's been called up, he's normally delivered. I'd personally like to see Enzo Fernandez on that team. I think he's in great form, but who knows if he's going to be.
Actually, when he was playing in the right flank, like right defensive midfielder, probably for River Plate, right? So he was like creating some chances for Julian Alvarez or whoever
Yeah,
playing
he's
on the
very
right.
good at
When
switching
yeah,
and also seeing the
and
spaces.
yeah, exactly. And if you are playing with Di Maria, you need some player who can actually make those. Like Rodrigo Di Paul, like who assisted again against Venezuela. Um, and if you are playing with this, there will be lot more chances for like if you're running through that side in the right wing. So
For sure.
uh,
No,
it will be
I think you're absolutely right. But I personally would like to see someone like him if there is a shortage in midfield. It seems like there is a lot of players on midfield as well. Um, So Group C, that is, I think Argentina undoubtedly. I mean, if you don't agree, please let me know.
Yeah,
Should be the favorite to go. Otherwise, and there's the Mexican team.
yeah. There will be some interesting
Games,
matches, and
yes,
yeah.
definitely. It's not
So
going to be easy. Even
yeah,
even if as if we didn't speak about Saudi Arabia, because there's a lot of pressure from Saudi Arabian team players to go and play for La Liga, and they have tried to put as much as players into La Liga as possible. Um, okay, moving into Group D. Just a second. It is the current champion France. There is potentially UAE versus Australia, whoever wins, and will be
yeah.
playing against Peru. There is Denmark and there is Tunisia. France,
They
overwhelming.
will make it through. Yeah,
Uh, I was keeping
but
an eye as an Argentine or Leo Messi fan because who is in the Group D that was important, not just because France is there. Say, for example, as a second pot team, Senegal or Germany was there. I know you already have a nightmare in the second round. Um,
yeah,
Here, it's more likely Denmark. I mean, obviously, if Peru comes on, Peru would give a very tough fight. But Peru is not as good as last World Cup team. But you never know. And then there's the last. I would say the weak link here is Tunisia.
well, I wouldn't say they are weaklings because um,
They came up. I know.
it's yeah, there's certain days like they they can actually hold it together. So
Well, and obviously there is the Champions Cars as well.
yeah,
Uh,
well, it actually started with France, so probably they will end it this time. Otherwise, like I don't see actually any upset there so far.
Well, that might be interesting if we start. We should keep that keep this clip there. There could be an upset. I somehow I think from Argentine point of view, they want to keep their top place and they don't want France to become second. And I guess similar kind of.
No, if France becomes second, then
Then
France will
obviously
play
C champion and
Argentina.
D runner up. Yeah,
Yeah,
and which happened
so
last time around.
yeah, I
Uh,
guess it's because of Argentina.
yeah. So this time, France, if they make it or any kind of slipper, that could be costly. But
Yeah,
technically, Denmark is not an easy team in this group, and Denmark, France always had
no, not
interesting
really
groups.
actually. Yeah, especially if you remember this game against who actually played against Denmark. Ericsson scored. We talked about it. Who was the opponent? Sorry.
Sorry, I totally forgot. But yeah, I just remember we talked about this last week.
Yeah, we forgot actually.
But yeah,
I don't
it's
know,
not
but
just about
yeah,
obviously Ericsson.
they also have squad depth. There's the like if you are like get your team going in the in deep in the tournament, you will need everyone like on deck. So uh, Denmark has that actually, and that's where actually both of France and Denmark were kinds of separated. We can actually like discuss about who is going to play for France because like there are almost like 30 40 players who can actually play for France right now.
And given the coach's name is Didier Deschamps, and
Yeah,
I mean, obviously he won the World Cup, but I don't know. Every time I remember the France team with that much of talent has a coach named Didier Deschamps. I mean, it almost feels like the US team, like their best potential, like whatever France does, still feels like they're not giving their optimum because of the so much talent, not just on the team but on the bench.
yeah, exactly. I think it was more of an individual performance, not like a team performance. Like they have blips and uh, how can I say, blast of performances from individual players, and that actually they have this core defensive system, and that actually worked for them. But it's still like, how can I say, yeah, well, you can compare them to the Spain team uh, in 2010, because like they were holding balls for like 70-80% time and not scoring. Some games were like really tough, and there were actually players like Fernando Torres was was in the bench, was coming in after 80 minutes. David Villa was scoring like most of the goals, like almost all of them. Um, it's something similar with this
And
France,
just
like,
to just yeah, exactly. But yeah, France.
but they have like more firepowers. For
Yes.
example, they have like Benzema, Mbappe, Griezmann, who is not even in the form,
No.
but still they have like Koeman, Dembele, so many players.
Yeah. So many. And I'm pretty sure we missed someone. Um, But yeah, that's Group D. Can we move into Group E, which looks
Yeah.
fairly interesting in terms of uh, I don't know if there is any kind of group of death, but it if there is any, this looks like it. Spain and CONCACAF and OFC winners, which is going to be Costa Rica and New Zealand, whoever wins it.
Mm.
Germany and Japan. Um, Thought on that.
It could be the group of that.
What?
But
What?
anyway, like whatever, like whoever plays, but the problem is that like from German point of view, if you are playing against Spain, you must win.
Yeah.
nothing will nothing will. And another thing is that they kinds of have to win, because group uh, group F is either Belgium or Croatia, so
Well, not
the
sure about that as long as Canada is there. But just going back to going back to Group E.
well yeah, well, I would, no offense, but the thing is that like um, whenever playing Spain and Germany are playing in the same group, it's not, it wouldn't be the same, because the thing is that like, even if like well, they won't play for draw.
No, no,
This will be
and
interesting.
also if you remember in 2014, Spain and Netherlands were in the same group, and that ended
Yeah,
up Netherlands beating 5-0
yeah,
the current champion Spain, right? So
but that wouldn't happen
no, that
probably
would
this time.
probably wouldn't happen. But
But
what could happen is nobody is talking about Japan.
yeah, that's the thing actually. Like, I was going to say, it could be like, I started with, it could be group of that, because Japan has players like really fast and really quick in attack. Like, we always seen them, and but this time of the year, they have like, for
Some very
example,
good technical players.
Tomiyasu. Yeah, like technical players like Tomiyasu, who is like, who can actually like lay back, or also like create from behind as
Kubo,
a center back. Huh?
Kubo of Osasuna, the Real
Yeah,
Madrid
Kubo.
loanee.
Yeah, of course.
Um, um, and I just named just two of them. They're this team. I've seen recently the ball movement, the way it's fun to
I
watch
think there
Japan.
are like 2, 3 players from the Premier League, and they can actually move like in 2, 3 seconds in the opponent's up.
Yeah, and even as a veteran, Okazaki, I don't think he did make the recent squad. So there are players in Japan that is coming, and they're the good thing about Japan. Whoever coming, the young players in the system, they're so technically good. It doesn't feel good in terms of whatever the viewers can see. Like it looks one touch and very very smooth and flowing football. But Japan is very quick. A lot of people doesn't understand that. As an Asian team, that quick is actually kind of scary at some point of time. So if Germany or Spain especially, given that Alvaro Morata, I mean, right now they're kind of Looking for more of a goal scorer, there is abundance of talents everywhere else. Um, I'm not saying that Morata is talentless. He can be. It's a matter of confidence. He can be very good at some day, not very good at some day. But if there is a slip up against Japan, I mean, they won't let them go.
You are not talking you also should bring about I will bring it because like not only that Japan can actually make real damage to Germany
Yes,
because
that's the first
because
game Germany is playing against Japan.
yeah because right now Germans doesn't have like a solid center back and not even that fast and if like most Germany would like to play like a high
Possession
positioning,
and
yeah, position and
and put others on the back foot
yeah,
and play
so
through the wings and find pockets for Thomas Muller to do the damage or find
yeah,
passing range, right?
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and
But
even
the
on
thing is
that,
that like
they have Timo Werner. I'm, I know he's a very good player, but he's not in the form. You have
yeah,
the Kai Havertz, and you have
who can actually play like a false nine
exactly,
because they have like enough wingers to
exactly like Sane, and that's the other part. Sane,
Generally, yeah,
Gnabry, and then I'm missing someone, but Musiala.
Musiala, yeah,
Yeah, but coming back to this Germany side, their strength is like in attack, in possession, and in high line.
yeah.
High
That's
line.
the problem actually. Like that was the thing I was going to bring. Like they always like German teams always they have the super keeper. I probably will play Neuer in the World Cup, and there will be high line of course. And if they can break because like they don't have fastest
Defenders.
center back or even wing backs. So that's
There's
the
no
problem.
Philippe Lam. I just forgot because Philippe
Except
Lam,
like yeah, except Guzens can run
yeah, on the left side.
really fast.
Yes.
Other than that, no defender is not that fast anymore.
Um, are you there? There's a bit
There
of
was an
yeah, yeah,
interruption.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And also, that reminds me, Germany always.
No, your words are breaking.
Okay, let's wait for a minute. Is it kind of clear?
Mm,
Not sure.
yeah, kind of. And also, like your screen is broken.
Okay, let it refresh for give it a few seconds. Okay, I think it's better.
I think it's okay now.
Yeah. So what I was saying that I
Yeah,
always think of good German team, great German team, always had very solid defensive midfielders and wing backs.
yeah.
And this team, I'm not so sure about that.
Well, they will play probably Kimmich in the right, who is a solid tactical player, but not as fast as this Japanese attack. So like they could there, and he will play a little bit high up in the field as a he could actually he wouldn't be the overlapping fullback. He will more like an inverted fullback or something like that. Guzen will be the overlapping one, or he could actually just tuck in or something like make it three in the back, like current Bayern team how they are playing so
Exactly.
far.
But then
But
this somehow
the,
nobody
but
exploits that the weakness the Bayern team has for some reason
well, they got caught up with so many teams
this season.
this year. Yeah, this season especially. So there will be the interesting game against Borussia Dortmund.
For sure. But yeah, let's going back to German national team. Uh, uh,
Yeah,
is my question here very specific? There was a game last World Cup they lost against Mexico. I think that really teared them apart from World Cup.
yeah.
And that Mexican side,
Also, they lost against
no,
Koreans.
Koreans for sure, but the first one was the knockout punch. Like really disbelief, nobody could believe this German team so dominant lost against. That Mexico team actually were very good on break and very fast.
Yeah.
So although the different managers, Joachim Low and then Hansi Flick, although he was part of that, Joachim Low's sort of vice.
If you remember, sorry for the interruption.
No, no,
If you
go ahead.
remember, like 2, 3 years ago, probably 2 years ago, in 2020,
Hmm.
Spain teams actually torn apart the Germans by
Yeah,
6-1 or 6-0. I forgot.
yeah,
And so many players of that team still playing in the
yes,
in this German team. I thought there will be some sort of changes, but there aren't much changes, and um, actually it takes a little bit more time to
rebuild.
adapt as a new coach, and I think Flick doesn't have this time. Yeah,
That's true.
so
That
it
is
would be unfair for,
interesting.
yeah, for him also. So,
So
but still, they don't have faster or speedy center backs, so that could actually caught up with them. Even like against Spain, like Ferran Torres is like really
fairly quick.
in good form. Yeah. Also, like he is like probably the master of finding pockets between right back and center backs, and also he can play it from in the center
Other
also
sides.
on
Yeah,
the other side. So Dani Olmo is almost same similar player,
yeah. You can talk
and
about
who's playing.
Gavi.
Yeah, Gabi is playing, and he can actually like really good in breaks. Also, Fatih is coming back so far.
Yeah, you almost forgot Fatih.
We forgot about Fatih. So,
Yeah, no, that's
so yeah, Fatih is not that fast, but he can actually like make those passes from the left. So if he gets the ball,
well.
so
Fatih can be
it will
fast
be,
if he's
yeah, he
if
can
he's
be,
in fitness.
yeah,
If he's
yeah.
fully fit. No,
So
I think it will be very interesting group in terms of a lot of people are not really, and also if whoever comes from Costa Rica and New Zealand, I don't see them
Costa Rica
impacting.
is like really physical team, like so far I
It's
remember,
very
and
well. That's still, but they're very aging team at this point,
mm,
and the star players is still kind of older players, and it's very defensive team. So if they come on, I can still see if they're on their top form and somebody else is not on their top form, match can be drawn. So they can definitely ruin someone else's party.
yeah, of course.
And yeah, they did win against Canada, but that doesn't mean anything really. They're not as consistent
Well,
as.
Japan will give everything whoever comes from that
If you
spot.
remember last World Cup, I think one of the great games was Belgium versus Japan.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
exactly.
like boxing game,
Unbelievable.
like
Yeah,
punch and counter punch and stuff like that. It was toe to
and
toe.
Japan was like really unlucky to uh not not to win at
Exactly.
all the time.
I now I remember the game like it is there. Uh, it was so. I mean, after the game, I mean, you can see the expression of Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne and everyone. I was like that was like prime Belgium team who beat Brazil very
Your
easily.
connection is probably lost.
Can you hear?
Your connection is lost. Probably.
It's showing me. All right. Can you hear me? Is it better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I was going to say, I've
Yeah, but
seen the
your screen is
players.
still.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay. So I was saying that the players like Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne, they just after the game, or Eden Hazard, the top prime Eden Hazard and prime Belgian team that comfortably beat Brazil, but couldn't really believe that they just win against Japan. Japan was that good.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Japan has this tough defenders as well, so they can actually fly fly in the air to get some head to head on the air. So it will be tough actually.
So
Uh,
potentially, this is the group of death
and
for you.
well, there is another one so
Yeah,
far.
there's another one. Okay, let's move on then in that one. So, is there any overwhelming favorite between Spain and Germany?
I don't think so, because well, this Spain team is really fairly young. The German team is still rebuilding, so I don't know what will happen next season. Like, are those players that will be still in form or something? It all always depends on stuff like those. But if the Germany team gets at least like two fast center backs, then it will be hard
Like,
to
is
beat
it
them.
possible between now and then?
There are some names are coming up uh, from I guess Union Berlin and some other clubs. So I don't know. It could be possible.
Well, Rudiger is there. Rudiger seems like quite okay as a defender.
Rudiger is okay only in the like other than that like nobody. But Rudiger will probably move into a new club and we don't know how what will happen in the
Fair enough.
how yeah. So
Fair enough. Okay,
let's see.
let's move to the next group that we have here. Group F has Belgium, O Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. So this can be very dicey.
Sorry.
Oh, did you did you see that? It is
Yeah, your words are again broken.
okay. I think there is a bit of a connection issue. Um, I was
Yeah.
showing the teams for Group F: Belgium,
Oh yeah.
Canada,
Belgium, Canada, Morocco,
Morocco, and
and
Croatia.
Croatia.
Your thought on this group?
Well, it will be hard to uh, predict a favorite here
Well,
actually.
Belgium should be favored, right? They've been so long for
Uh,
number one FIFA ranked team. Right now, they're just number two.
no, I don't because um, uh, I think Croatia will get probably out of the World Cup in the first round because of aging midfield and
Aging
defense
stars.
and also some they don't have any aging stars. I think Modric will play probably better games. Kovacic is really in form so far
Brozovic
these days, but
is very good too.
the problem is with yeah, Brozovic is good, but the problem is in the final zone.
Ivan
And
Perisic
if you are playing against like Belgium,
and Tirabic.
no, Perisic is out of form, and he played. Uh, no,
Rebic
not
has
not
some
at all.
issues like
I don't think so
injuries
actually. Yeah, also like Perisic is not that player we have seen in
last World Cup.
2018 or even with Bayern in 2019 or 20. Yeah, so he's playing more as a wing back this season, although he's creating a lot of chances for Inter Milan, but still it's not that much actually. Like to go on like for 90 minutes at least. So in the final third, there will be some problems actually. But
Okay,
midfield is so far solid. Um, but Rakitic already has retired so far, so he's out of the equation. But the only problem is in the defensive line. Um,
fair enough.
how they can so there is a possibility they can actually beat up
Yeah, there
and
is Morocco on this
Morocco
group.
team is like uh, Yeah, and they are really fast. If you remember AFCON, they can actually go to attack with Ashraf Hakimi
Yeah, flying
and
in
some other
one zone.
players.
Yeah,
They are really fast.
yeah, and even
Yeah.
even I don't know what's
So
going on with Hakim Ziyech.
uh,
Like if he would return, I don't know what would happen. But
no, he had some injury problems so far.
right, right. I was thinking about, you know, he had some problem with the manager and stuff like that that came into media. And but yeah, if Hakim Ziyech is one of the top players, if he's around, and
Yeah, that side of the pitch actually, uh, how can I say, really dangerous for any team. But also,
yeah, a lot of people don't know about Canada,
Canada is there.
and
Their
that's the
current,
Belgium's first game, I guess. If they're sleeping on us,
yeah,
when I say us, because Canada
and
managed
that's the
to,
thing with Belgium. Like Belgium's problem is aging defend.
yeah, and
Um,
Canada's strength is
Hello, are you
youngsters.
there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me? Seems like a
Yeah,
connection issue or something. But yeah, coming back to that, you said you can hear me, right? You said that the problem is
yeah,
Belgium's defense, the aging defenders, and Canada's strength is the youngsters up front.
yeah. Alfonso Davis could actually run faster than anyone probably in the pitch right now.
Or even
Um,
that guy.
and
Go ahead.
that's their strength actually, and it will be a really interesting games. That's why it will be really interesting games. Yeah, Canada versus
Belgium.
Morocco
Oh, Morocco. Yeah,
because Davis against Hakimi, it will be fun to watch because
exactly,
they will play
exactly.
on the opposite probably.
And just
So
to
it will be a fun game to watch.
exactly, just to remind you, the backup of Alfonso for Canada, the left back, he's not slow as well. He probably is the
Yeah,
second fastest left back right now in CONCACAF, or even I could say on certain part of the world. Can you hear me?
yeah. There are connection breakouts like the middle of talks. So
Okay, now I was telling that for whoever is the backup of Alfonso Davis. I've seen enough of him. I can't remember the exact name, but he's not uh, slow as well. He's very fast. So if Alfonso doesn't even play, and people think, okay, that wing back is not fast, he's very fast. So the Canadian team is managed by John Hardman, and he was fairly. I think he was fairly pleased with the group, and I think he would fancy his chances, at least beating one of them.
I think they will cause a real damage to
Teams like Croatia,
Croatia. It will be yeah, it will be a interesting game against Morocco,
yes,
but I think Canada will come through so far with the quality of strikers they have right now, and it will be an interesting game against Belgium. Even the defenders are like aging, but their wingbacks are still fast. Like Thorgan Hazard is playing on the left side, and
exactly,
yeah, even Eden Hazard won't play probably that much, probably 20 minutes of every game, something like this. But right now, uh, Martins and Kevin De Bruyne is playing, and they are the most probably, yeah, they're the most assist creators in. They are in the list actually, like in the top 5 or top 6. Like probably Martins created 31 assists, and um, De Bruyne is also in the same numbers, around that number. So it will be interesting. We still cannot actually. Uh, well, we should actually put Belgium in favorite
Yeah,
position,
because
but in the
of the
second for
rank.
the second spot, it will be
Tough
interesting.
to predict. Yeah. Okay, let's move on quickly to the other one. Group G has Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
Well, Brazil obviously will be favorite, right?
Yeah, Brazil, and obviously they have to be favorite wherever they are. The name itself is favorite, but yeah, the team looks way
Yeah,
better since that Copa America, especially in the second half of
yeah.
the last year.
Also, like they, yeah, of course, and also, yeah, there will be some changes, and I think it will be like Brazil will be favorite, obviously, but among Cameroon, Switzerland, it will be a little bit
Well,
tougher,
I
you know.
don't
Like,
forget about Serbia. Just to mention that because they are the group winners
yeah,
against Portugal, so it's not an easy team to play. So this doesn't look
yeah,
slippery, but might be slippery. You never know.
yeah. Even like it will be slippery, but Brazil still can
No,
make
no,
it
not
through,
for Brazil.
like in
I
the top.
guess for the
Uh,
other teams like
yeah, for other
Switzerland.
teams, it will be, yeah,
Yeah, and Cameroon.
yeah.
I
Switzerland,
personally would
yeah,
prefer
it's possible.
Algeria, but Cameroon came out. Kudos to them. They've been tough, I guess. Let's see how they do in the World Cup. I mean, Cameroon have been underwhelming for a lot of World Cup, but hope this one is good for them.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I don't know, like this Switzerland team has players like Witzel, Shakiri. They are still performing well so
Even
far.
Shaka looks
But
a different player.
Shaka, yeah, Shaka got his form back with Arsenal, and he's playing a different role with Switzerland. Uh,
Yeah,
I
and
don't know,
I do
like
like the coach of the
for
Swiss
the
team.
second spot. Sorry.
I do like a lot the coach of the Swiss team. The way, especially he played in the Euro.
Yeah. Uh, well, it will be hard to predict for the second spot so far
Yeah, it is.
from
It
my
is.
side. So
It
I
is
wouldn't
hard.
pick a favorite for the second spot.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the last group. Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea.
This is the group of death. You will never know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because even Portugal, you don't. There's so much talent, but you don't know the way they play.
Well, the thing is that like sometimes Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva can get in each
Each
other's
other's way.
way, and that actually causes problems. Yeah, that actually causes problems for them. Other than that, actually, they have a solid back. They have Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's still playing uh,
Well,
well, fairly well for his age.
and
Yeah,
Diego Jota is there.
and for Portugal, yeah, Jota is there, and also like uh, they actually know how to use Cristiano Ronaldo right now.
Exactly, and
This team,
also I think we should mention about Montinho as there, Joao Montinho is there as Renato Sanchez. So yeah, some very solid midfielders on that team. Pepe is still there.
Yeah. Also, you forgot Ruben Diaz.
Yes, but Ruben Diaz is more like a very different player for Man City because of the system that he plays in, and I think it's a very different player for Portugal.
Yeah, of course. But
You have
still,
Joao
he's a
Cancelo.
solid center back, and he can. Yeah, they have Joao Cancelo also, Semedo there.
Yeah, so it's a very very talented group.
So
But problem for me is the name of the manager is Fernando Santos.
yeah, also also the bench, because they aren't like a solid backup for Joao Martinho. So Moutinho's backup, it will be tough for him to play like the all 3 or 4 matches, or whatever matches they are going to play. But
Uh,
yeah,
speaking,
also another thing issue will be Cristiano Ronaldo.
yeah, no, fair
So
enough. He needs his teammates to support him, and how much that can happen is what really is a question.
yeah,
And
and
also we
with
if
Korean team,
so South Korea, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, it's all those interruption. I was like moving.
No, no, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
can listen.
Yeah, Korean team, like what we were saying about Japan, is almost same as Korean team, and now these players, like some of them has like this experience from
Last World Cup.
last World Cup, like beating Germany. So, and Son is like one of the best strikers now,
Yeah,
and he can play the winger, striker, like any positions in the upfront. And there are so many players in this Korean team, and it will be really interesting to see them playing against like, teams like Portugal, where Pepe may be caught up. They're trying to, if they're playing in the I don't know, high line, but I haven't actually seen
not
Portugal
really,
is
no,
playing high line.
not really. Fernando Santos plays very
So
deep level, sort of, and that's the other part, with the deep lying midfield and deep line of midfielders supporting the defenders, it becomes harder to synchronize the attack, and that's one of the major problems for Portugal.
yeah, exactly. That is the actually the only problems with this team. Because of that, actually, other team can like break in and make a quick, like like one two
Quick
rush, and
transition team can create a
yeah,
lot more damage,
yeah,
especially if we're talking about that. And there's huge controversy in 2010 World Cup was Suarez handball against Ghana,
Ghana.
uh, and Asamoah Gyan still plays. Suarez still plays.
Yeah,
So somehow the destiny meet keep keep revolving, and they will see each other. How excited!
yeah, it will be an interesting game. But they are not the same players as they were back
No, fair
then
enough, but it's
in
still the same
2010.
face.
Yeah, of course, like it will be a heated game. Uh, so, like I don't know, like it is really hard to say anything about this group
Yeah, exactly.
so far.
Anyone can go on, and Uruguay just to
But the problem is that like whoever whoever will be the second potentially faces Brazil,
yeah, that's true.
right?
That is true.
So it will be
You don't want to face Brazil in
I don't know.
second
It
round.
will be a motivation to yeah. Nobody wants to face Brazil in the second round, and everyone is thinking like Portugal is. will be the potential group champion or something like that.
I
But
don't know about that exactly.
if they don't, if they don't, then it will be like
I think a lot of people are
Portuguese, like
seeing as a, say for example, Uruguay is not as good. They barely made it, but after Tavares stepped down and new coach took over, Uruguay has been
yeah,
anything but fairly impressive and got some very key wins. And their team had incorporated a lot of youngsters as well. Their midfield is good. They're hardworking with Torreira, Bentancur, and Valverde. There is Facundo Pellistri is there as well. So uh, and the Dier's Cicada is like a number 10, and you have the Benfica's Nuno up front with Suarez. So it's not an easy team to play against.
your
I'm breaking. Okay.
your words are broken. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Let me repeat
yeah,
that again. I was talking about the Uruguayan system, and the players are there. Between Suarez and Cavani, one will be there, and the Benfica striker Nuno will be accompanying them. There is Dr. Suqueta as number 10, and you have the midfield of Valverde, Bentancur, and Torreira. On back, you have Ronald Araujo and Godin with experience, and then
Torreira,
then
yeah,
Jimenez. So it's not a bad team at all.
yeah. Also, De La Cruz in the wings, and it will be it will be like Portugal. Sorry, Uruguay is always like plays well in the like normally
In
in
the World
the
Cup.
tournaments. Like so far, what we yeah, especially in the World Cup. But except for the last one, I guess
Oh, last one they
they did
knocked
not
out
play in the
Portugal.
World Cup. Oh, okay. Then it will be another fireworks
Yes, I remember
there.
the same day that France beat Argentina, Uruguay beat Portugal. The same day Messi and Ronaldo said bye to the World Cup.
Oh, I actually forgot about that actually.
I was traveling, so I remember the two games. It was very interesting. But yeah, that's
No, I was working at the day, so
okay. But yeah, that's about it about the World Cup. I mean, if it has taken a longer time, but it was interesting to talk about different teams and your thought on some of the potential group winners, which doesn't mean anything. I mean, in the real game,
yeah,
it
it
would
doesn't
be
mean
very
anything.
very
Like
different.
this,
But it's an exercise. And any final thought?
we still have like 8 months to go, so
Yeah, it's a long time, and
6 7 months, I guess.
exactly, and it always depends on how the players are doing physically, and who is fit and who picks up the
Yeah,
form.
exactly.
But is it a time, like for a long time there has been an European champion? Is this probably the year that might have a different champion than Europe?
Well, last time the World Cup held in Asia, we saw Brazil
Brazil winning
lifted.
it.
So and
There's
right
good
now,
chance.
yeah, and right now they have this team to win it. So does Argentina right now.
I agree.
But yeah, Brazil will be like one of the top favorite,
Along with France.
like if not that yeah, along with France, of course. And I was going to say that
This World
actually.
Cup doesn't have a very clear favorite, though. I mean, except France. I mean, in paper, that
Yeah, also, yeah,
because we're talking about Brazil.
yeah. In paper, there were also, yeah, in paper there were also favorites in the Euro, but
Yeah,
it
no,
did not
fair
happen.
enough.
So
And
anything could happen.
also Brazil, up until last Copa America, were very solid in defense and in midfield. But after Rafinha and Anthony got introduced and Vinicius Junior started playing in, and Neymar started, and Coutinho got back into the form, and also you have Lucas Paqueta. So it's all looks like attacking top. Now that's a dangerous game against any European team if you have all that unbalance on that midfield. So just to keep an eye on. And Neymar
Yeah,
itself
that's
himself
what
is a
actually,
very very
if you remember,
emotional player.
yeah, that's actually what actually exploited by the European teams from 2006 until last World Cup. They actually exploited those things. Except, I guess, I would say Belgium. They've played fairly well, Brazilian team. They did not actually try to do any sort of like a, like a negative influence on someone or something like that. Uh, I would say 2006 team also like wasn't actually that tactical because they are aging back lines and front. It actually caught them. Um,
Yeah, also a masterclass from
and
Zidane at
2000,
that World Cup.
yeah, of course, like that World Cup actually like should have been him.
Yeah. Anyway, I think there is enough glitches in this network, and we've talked over an hour. I think it's almost time to wrap
Yeah,
it up.
yeah, we should.
Yeah. Unless you have anything to add or anything.
No, not at all. Super.
Well,
Okay.
it was fun. I'm pretty sure we'll be talking more about the tournament as it comes along.